Alright, hey guys, this is Geronimo Airsoft, and this is Justin. I'm Keegan. We are members of Geronimo Airsoft, and this is a talk show we're going to be doing called Airsoft Addicts. And
we're going to be talking about basically whatever we find interesting in the airsoft world, whatever you guys want us to talk about, whatever comes up.
We're going to be doing, in this episode, we're going to be talking about some airsoft experiences we've had, like places we've taken painful shots. We're going to talk about like airsoft experiences involving maybe zombie game modes, and we're also going to be talking about gear right up ahead, about gear that looks interesting to us, and some ideas for weapons.
So
enjoy. You can go to this website. I believe it's called Vid2MP3. It's a website where you can actually take a link, a YouTube video link, and you can download it. I'm not sure what computer systems it's compatible for, but
it should work for most systems.
Mostly, yeah. You can download the audio from a video. So I know this video is kind of long, but if you guys want, you can download it and maybe like put it, say, on your MP3, if you have an MP3 player, iPod or something, you can listen to it. Since you don't necessarily have to watch us, we do have some pictures pop up of the gear stuff we're talking about, but if you just don't really care about watching, just want to listen, you can do that too, so yeah.
Probably put a link to that in the description.
Yes, a link in the description. All you have to do is just go up to the URL, and you have to copy, and then you can paste it on this channel and you can download it.
Well, first thing I want to talk about is a Blackhawk Serpa holster Molly platform, I think it is. And what that is like, I have a Blackhawk Serpa for my high kappa, my WE high kappa, and I have a belt mount for that right now. But what I want to get is a Molly platform for it, and like with the Blackhawk Serpas, there's like 3 screws that mount it onto any platform you want, so like you can have the same holster and get like a drop leg, a ollie, like a belt and a paddle. All those platforms will work for any Serpa holster. And so like what I want to get is the Molly platform, so I can have it like on my actual plate carrier. And a lot of military personnel do, and a lot of special ops do this too, I know, is they carry their pistol on their chest like right about here. And so like if they're getting an engagement, instead of like, yeah, he's got his gun with him, kind of hardcore softer, just has his gun with him. By the way, in case you're wondering, it's a Win gun. What's the model number?
338 or 331.
331.
Win gun. M9A1.
Yeah.
CO2 kind of blowback.
It's like halfway blowback. Yeah, does that. And like, so a lot of special ops will carry it across their chest so that they don't have to reach down from the weapon. They can just drop the weapon in their hand still here and pull it out from their chest and start shooting. And so I want to get a Molly platform so I can do that.
It's a quick way to grab it out.
Like when you're transitioning, instead of like, if you have your primary up like this, instead of dropping it, going down to your belt, pulling up and being here, you can just boom, boom.
Alright, well, what I'm currently actually thinking about getting, there's a lot of things I've looked at and always think are interesting, but I only have about one thing right now that I'm actually looking to buy in the future. Right now I have a 9.6 volt battery with 2000 milliamps. My handguard is just a little bit too small to fit this giant 9.6, and when I say a little bit, it's actually a big difference, but I have it rigged up on I have the wire from the gun pushed through a hole through the handguard, so I can actually keep my handguard closed and switch out batteries. So I normally run my 9.6 on the outside of my gun, I just tape it on, but I'm considering getting a 9.6, maybe 160 milliamps. They have some
1,600, right?
1,600.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they have some, like, I'm thinking Amazon, because Airsoft GI is the shipping is a lot, because we live all the way across the country from them, so it costs a little bit more either way. So I'm considering actually going on Amazon and getting one at some point. But I actually recently, we had an airsoft war, and a guy I talked to, he's got his brother and him, they both airsoft, they've got a mini, like the mini type. It's actually 9.6 200 milliamps, which I don't know how they got that much with just a small battery, but apparently they make them somewhere. It was actually by Tenergy, which it's a battery I've had before, and it was a piece of crap, so I didn't really trust them, but I might consider trusting them again. But I haven't been able to find the battery online anymore. They said they got it at eBay. But yeah, if I can't find that, I'll go for the 1600 milliamp one.
Right now, my M4, which is my only AEG, is out of service because the gear set is broken. So I'm kind of looking at transitioning it between a couple of different options. What I'm thinking right now is that I'm going to get a high speed gear set for it, so I can bring up the rate of fire a little bit on it, because right now I have a weaker spring in it because I like having that a little bit higher rate of fire, and I like the lower wear on it. So I'm thinking, take advantage of that weaker spring and get a high speed gear set, which, like, in case you don't know, the ratio of gear is like how many times the motor turns per how many times the actual, like, I think it's the sector gear. It's the sector gear that pulls back the piston in an AEG, I think. I don't know. It's like how often the motor turns per how often the gear that pulls back the piston turns, and the standard is like 18 turns of the motor per turn of the gear that pulls back the piston. And the gear set that I'm looking at getting is, I think, 13 to 1, which is a really big jump, especially for like airsoft gears. And so I'm hoping it doesn't just like overclock my gun and just make it destroy itself, because with a lot of high-speed setups, if you don't have good reinforcement, and if your angle of engagement in particular is off, you can just destroy your gun. So I'm going to have to make sure that's on right. But I'm thinking of transitioning it into a high-speed setup, but I'm also considering like making it into an LMG, like getting a rail for it, which right now I'm thinking of just getting like a rail that's designed to fit the standard AR-15 handguard, because I don't really feel like putting down the cash for an IRS, a PEC box, some sights, and all that. So just get like a $15 handguard rail, and then use that to mount on a bipod or something like that, and then get a nice box magazine, which there's one on Airsoft GI. We'll probably put a link down in the description, but it's made by let's check here, A&K, which A&K is decent quality usually, and it's a 5,000 round box magazine, and it's like a high cap type, and like it's not electric winding or anything, so there's no complicated mechanisms to get away.
Your finger will get tired from winding it, but it will still be worth it with the peace of mind without running out of babies.
That's one of the reviews. I'm thinking about getting that, and that fits an M4 mag well too, by the way.
M16 M4.
Yeah. I'm just thinking to myself, so if you got yourself an L85 and you want to slap 5,000 rounds in that thing, you got it. But it'd probably be pretty bulky to use on the bullpup. So, oh well.
Right now we'll actually do painful injuries that we can think of in airsoft.
Our own or others, or both?
Both, yeah, we can talk about that
both.
one kid.
That one, oh yeah, that one kid.
The last game we were at, there was a kid who was, there was a lot of these little kids playing with it. They had these crappy M4s.
How old would you say they were? Like maybe like
I'd say it would go, yeah, like maybe, yeah, like 9 to 14. 13 maybe.
They're pretty young, but they're old enough to know what they were doing somewhat.
They're somewhat.
There
was a kid who was, a few of them were fighting, where we play, we've got all these trailers up on these, they're actually No, they're just sitting trailers, and so under them you have this whole area where you can just crawl under them and have combat under there. And
A lot of them have like interspersed, like just random objects there.
Yeah, and there's
So-
these kids fighting under them, and apparently people were getting pretty close in combat,
It wasn't
and we were walking
really
up, I think we
close.
were out of the game, we were walking up, and I saw this kid get shot, and he went, and he was holding his mouth, and I was wondering what was going on, and I went up and asked him if he was okay, and he said he got shot in the mouth, and then he said he thinks he got his chip tooth, or his chip tooth, yeah, his tooth chipped, and I went up and I asked him to show me, and he showed me his tooth, and literally, I think it was this tooth, it was one of the two top, two.
Was it the top one?
It was, yeah. Oh, no, actually, it was one of the bottom ones.
I thought it was one of the bottom.
It was one of the bottom.
It was a bottom incisor, and it was chipped like
It
literally.
was literally halfway. The top of it was chipped off. I felt bad.
I feel really bad for the kid. 'Cause, like, I just
But
had.
he took it well. He didn't like cry.
He did. He was more worried about like what his parents were gonna
Yeah.
do.
And apparently, the guy that hosts these games here, apparently his dad was like the only dad who actually said, if my son gets hurt, I'm gonna come to you. So I don't know what happened to Jacob. I think he's still alive.
Yeah, maybe he's still alive. I hope he is. If not, we could buy the property.
Evil. So bad. Anyway, yeah, that's one of the.
Actually, the worst one that I know of also came from that day that he was talking about, the kid with the chipped tooth. And this isn't really all that bad. It's probably more of just a bad welt story. But one of the guys that plays with us a lot, his name is Matthew, and he was going up against this guy with this CO2 pistol. It's actually the same one that he had earlier, but I'm not sure if
freakishly more powerful than mine.
yeah, his is like magic or something. I don't know what it is, but it's way more powerful
Like-
for some reason.
It's like 300 with threes, and like with twos, it's like 490.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And it gave me a bruise from at least 50 feet away, so it's pretty ridiculous. But anyhow, Matthew was wearing at least, I think he was wearing 3 layers of clothing. Like, he's insane too. But he was wearing, I know, at least a t-shirt and like a BDU shirt. And it went through, like it didn't actually like
It
go
didn't
through.
penetrate.
But through all that clothing, and it was all pretty baggy too, so the bagginess can a lot of times absorb the impact. But through 2 layers of baggy clothing, and I want to say 3 for some reason, but I don't know. But through 2 layers of baggy clothing, he like had this full-on welt, and it even broke the skin. It was that bad. I don't know. So.
It's like that big. The bruise was literally that big. You got the little.
Oh no! It didn't even bruise that day.
Matthew on the back.
Yeah, it didn't bruise
Yeah,
that
it
day.
was. It was like that big.
That was the welt.
Oh, that was the well.
That was the welt. It was big. It was nasty.
I've gotten my first airsoft war I actually had. It was quite a beginner war. A lot of us had Springer weapons and
But
stuff.
I had the most awesome cheap AK ever.
Anyway, back to the story.
I love that.
Back to the story. We were playing like a VIP game, and we were actually protecting the VIP. This is just a quick thing. The guy actually owns the property. This is back when he used to play with us. Now he doesn't play, he just refs because he's too good at the game. He's not allowed to play with us because it's just unfair.
He's ridiculous.
Anyway, he was sprinting with a shotgun that had a broken. Broken hand grip, so he just had the trigger. He just hold the shotgun like this and have the trigger. And he went up and he shot me, and I turned like this and took my chin into the bullet and shot me right in the face. But that wasn't that bad. And another time that day, we were actually, after one of the games, we were just shooting at these 2 guys. This one guy, he had an AEG, like a Walmart one, but it was still pretty powerful. It was like 350, 375 FPS, and he actually shot me in the neck. It like went and kind of curved down and hit my neck, and I got a little red spot. But you can tell one of yours now. My next one with Josh.
That was my one
Okay.
that I was gonna say. This kid, he has probably. I'm actually really surprised at how good the gun he has is, because it's a
It's a Walmart gun.
It's a Walmart gun, but is it full metal or is it just?
It's
a
full
plastic?
metal. It's Black Ops, from the Black Ops series.
It's the Black Ops Viper M4 or whatever it is, and like I'm really impressed with that gun, to be honest, because it's full metal. It has electric blowback, and it shoots at probably 400 FPS. I mean, it says on the box,
400.
It says on the box, but you know how that can be, especially for a Walmart gun. But Anyhow, and we were in this engagement. I was on a team with him and one other guy. We were doing like a squad deathmatch sort of deal where we had, was it 4 small teams? It was either 4 or 3 small teams, and like
three.
Okay.
We had 3 teams of 4, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. Anyhow, our team, like basically all of us, had run out of ammo, and so we were all coming back towards the middle point of the field where we pretty much use that as our staging ground. So like when we start a game, one team goes to one end, the other team goes to the other end. And it's just a good spot to set up everything. So we were heading back towards that staging area to reload all our ammo and stuff. And like the staging area is still like open for play.
It's in the middle of the field, basically.
Mm-hmm. It is smack dab in the middle of the field. And so we were going back to the staging area, and as we were walking back, this kid comes around the corner of like a deck by all these semi-truck trailers, and we're all just kind of walking lazy-daxily because there's nobody around us until we see this kid, and we're just focused on reloading and getting back in the game. And we're coming up right along this deck, and we were probably 10, 15 feet away from him, and he asks us, "Are you guys still in?" And like for me, it was like, yeah, we are. We are still in, aren't we? He's on the other team. Crap, he's gonna shoot us. And then he did. He lit us up so bad.
Where did you get shot?
I got a good shot in the jaw and then on the knuckle of the thumb. That was fun.
So I walked up. They had like a deck there. I walked up the deck and I was already walking behind him. So as that happens, he's starting to shoot. I suddenly think of it in the back of my head. I start just sprinting forward. So I'm sprinting away from him, but I'm still in complete view. So he just turns around. I'm about like 15, 20 feet away at this point, and he shoots me in the back. This is back when I didn't have a plate carrier. I just had a chest rig, and it didn't protect the back at all. So I just got shot in the back. And then I was wearing shorts, and I got shot in the raw of the leg. And the leg actually hurt the most. It bruised up right away. But those were my painfulest shots. He shot us from up close.
He hasn't been too bad about it.
He hasn't been too bad. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That was when he first got that gun.
Alright. Now we're going to talk about, this is actually pretty cool because we're going to talk about a zombie game we did. This is one of the first, I think this was actually the second official Airsoft game I set up. And we did a zombie game. And we're going to talk about that. I know a lot of people don't necessarily play zombies because you guys play on, some of you might play on actual fields and they like make their own games and they don't do zombies. Some places do zombies, but we're just going to talk about our own like zombie game. It was pretty fun.
The nice thing about the place that we go to Airsoft is it's just some guy's property. So we can pretty much do whatever we want. Well, I'm not sure. Anonymity's sake. But we can pretty much do whatever games we want to do within reason. So it gives us a lot of flexibility to have some pretty interesting games.
And the cool thing is he's got 2 warehouses kind of in the center of the field. They represent a lot of the combat goes on around them. And a lot of people use them as kind of the barrier between both sides when we have games. So it's kind of like the halfway point. But
you know what I just noticed?
What?
A lot of times we've had like firefights between like the 2 insides of the warehouse. But it seems really rare that we have firefights between the 2 edges of the warehouses.
Why?
I don't know, it just seems weird.
Anyway.
Random tangents.
The warehouses, they're like, he actually has his own business where he sells, he buys material and like used material like at stores that they're running out. And he'll buy it and he'll sell it, and he actually has some really good stuff. I won't, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to advertise his stuff. I don't even know his exact name. I think it's just, anyway, yeah, it's just his name and it says supplies. But anyway, back to the point. Back to the point, his warehouses, they're full of stuff, and he's got like a ton of shelves and like it's basically like a maze. It's awesome. It's like
you would imagine a warehouse being, only less organized, I suppose.
Because
like
a country warehouse.
A lot of industrial warehouses nowadays are like super organized and like Amazon had robots working in them. This is just like basically a gigantic garage.
Anyway, so he's got a lot of stuff. He's got shelves that will go like 15 feet up, and they got they've got just tons of stuff on. The only thing is a lot of his stuff is in good condition, so we're not allowed to like actually play in there. The only times we play, we have to use really low powered spring pistols, which is okay. For the zombie game we did.
Low power gas.
I doubt it.
Excuse me.
Anyway, so he basically, we barely ever play in there. And sometimes he just doesn't want us to play because he's got everything set up in there. But this was one of the times he let us play. And he's got like shelves, and he's got like music and speakers going around. He even has this little raft built up really high up on it's like the highest point. It's just this little area about like maybe 20 feet from either side. It's just a square built out of wood, and he's got a drum set up there, and his brother goes up there and plays drums sometimes. But it's a pretty big place, and he's got like music, so he can play music and turn it up really loud, and he's got the lights. He can turn the lights off if he wants. But anyway, it's quite amazing. There's like that you can go up a story, and you can go on like railings, and there's railings and there's rooms, and there's other shelves even up in the railings. So
it's a pretty cool place.
I'll tell my story first. So we were playing Zombies and Survivors, and so the zombies are just people walking around. I think they went in first to the place. There was a few zombies that went in first, and then the survivors walked in after. Unless it was the other way around, the zombies came in after. I can't remember. But he kind of actually put a lot of zombies in to start out, instead of just doing a few. I think they wanted it to be a more intense game. But so we went in there with spring pistols, so obviously you can't shoot those a lot. So it's a bit fair. Like it's more fair for the zombies. And the zombies, all they have to do is tap. You make contact, and you turn into a zombie, and then you have to be a zombie. But we played, and he had the lights out, which was quite hard.
Yeah, that was pretty freaking scary.
And people had flashlights, so they were going in, like searching the corners,
freaking
I had
out.
a
Flashlight for that game.
We had groups of people split up into like 3 or 4 going about, and then there were people like me who were just going up by myself and like trying to search areas. Mostly what I did is I kind of did the wimpy game, and I went up on the second story, and I went all the way to the end to one of the back shelves, and I just stayed there with my pistol, watching the area, making sure no one came in. No one was hiding there. It worked quite well, and then eventually, I remember one time, this was before I went up to the second story, we were just walking, and then suddenly, like, people start getting attacked. I get split up from my group, there's no flashlights around. I see someone, like, right in front of me, and I start shooting them, and they're like, I'm hit, and I'm like, sorry. And then I run past them. At this point, it suddenly hit me, like, I'm like, okay, I'm in a vulnerable position right now. I don't know where anyone is, it's dark, and there's people. I know I can sense people around me, I'm not sure exactly where they are. I need to get to somewhere safe in the open area. So I start running through. I walk up the stairs and then hide in that spot I was talking about. And then I end up actually going all the way to the other side, and he's got these wooden boards that he lays out so you can walk across them and walk onto the actual shelves he has placed in the building. So I was up on this like 15-foot shelf, and I was watching around, and it's dark, and there's this kid that was kind of being really annoying, and he was taking what were they, like bottle rockets?
Yeah, they're probably bottle rockets.
They were bottle rockets. He was taking them and shooting them at people.
That's the downside of having a lot of flexibility with the place we play. There was a lot of idiots that do a lot of stupid stuff.
Fortunately, he doesn't show up a lot. But he was shooting them, and he actually was shooting at one of the guys with us was starting to rage and like yell at him and stuff, getting mad at him. And
actually, I think a lot of us were.
The adrenaline in me was kicking in, and I was just getting, since other people were screaming, I was like, okay, next time he does that, I'm gonna scream, which it's not a good idea. I shouldn't have done it, but we were like I was up on the thing, and he was shooting them, and he shot one right past my head, because you can see it when he lights it and he shoots it, it goes, you can see like...
It was the kind of bottle rockets that have like the little light glittery...
Yeah, and it just shot right past my head and popped, and I'm like, seriously, Alex? And I start yelling at him and screaming, and then I end up moving back to the actual boardwalk, whatever you want to call it. The catwalk, I guess, and I go back to a corner. This is the opposite corner that I went to that one time just to hide. It's the opposite place. I just go back to that corner. I sit there. I think there's one other person with me, and then I think it was Stuart ran up, and I aimed right at him. It was in the dark, but I could see. I think he was wearing a white shirt, so I could slightly see someone running towards me. And I went up and I just shot at him, and he like grabbed me, and I was like, dude, I shot you. And he was like, oh, I didn't. Or he's like, oh, you didn't. So he didn't feel it, but I know I shot him because there was rounds in my chamber, and I aimed directly at him. He was like 5 feet away when I actually shot him. So, but then I just stayed up there. I think I ended up staying up there for the rest of the game. People ended up shooting, like he was still shooting the rockets, but everyone ended up getting out, and then I'm not sure who all was left, but they were like, okay, everyone, you won. All the survivors walk out, so I just walked out. So I kind of played a wimpy game. I was down there in some of the parts where I was by myself and there were zombies around, so I did take out a few people, so I guess I did okay, but a lot of the times I was just doing the kind of survival mode, which our only objective, which is to see how long we could survive, so I'd say I did pretty good in that, but yeah, when they said everyone walk out, I walked out, and I was like, stood at the top of the stairs, I was like, does this mean I win? But I think there was a few other survivors, so now your story.
I don't really have the story for this game. I don't really remember it all that much. But all I remember was like it was really frustrating when that kid was shooting off fireworks. Cause like you gotta imagine like shooting off fireworks like in your backyard is still pretty loud. You gotta imagine we're in an enclosed space, so one, the sound is amplified because there's nowhere for it to go, and because there's nowhere for it to go, it reverberates all over the place. So that's really annoying and really freaks you out when you're looking around for people that are trying to like claw at your ankles. And it was even scarier for me because like you didn't have a flashlight, so you're probably just scanning everywhere. I had a flashlight, which was nice to have.
Yeah, no, but you're a big target.
I am a big target.
Yeah, everyone can see the light beam everywhere.
Yeah, and like the thing with me is like whenever I have a spot that I can see, I'll look at it. So it was like tunnel visioning on where that flashlight was. So I was like, I was using my pistol, so I was like this, and the entire time I'm like, where are they? I don't see them.
So
I hear them run.
So you don't have anything like about when you were just searching the area and stuff? Did you have people with you? Did you get infected?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It was a while ago. It was like 2 years ago.
No, it was like a year and a half. Anyway, but yeah, I just remember some of the people were like going in groups, and like one of the kids, Adam, he was like screaming and freaking out at every corner, and some of the other people were like, come on, Adam, stop it. He was like scaring him every corner. It was pretty funny. Solomon was getting him. I think he was actually scaring Solomon a little bit. Solomon wouldn't admit to it. But yeah, that's pretty much that story. Alright guys, that's the video. If you guys want to comment, rate, subscribe, make sure you leave your comments at the end of the video if you have any questions for us. Anything related to airsoft at all.
Like literally anything, like like good gear, good guns, how to get in airsoft, teching problems or whatever.
You can ask us our questions like that you want to know about us involving airsoft and stuff. I think that's it. Just put your questions in, and in our next video of this, we'll have some other interesting stuff, and we'll answer your questions if you have any. So.